Hello guys, Chris Ember Clark here again. This is going to be a how-to video just to show you guys how I made my alcohol stoves. So first, this is just a quick look at what one looks like after. As you can see, it's a very small can. But here is full size one, which will be cut down to size to fit. Doesn't matter what size can you use, it could be one of these large cans or a small can, depending on what you prefer, what size. First you'll need is a knife to cut the can to be cut, a knife with a dull-ish edge, and also will be required is a pair of scissors. This is basically all you'll need, plus your own two hands. So with no further ado, we'll crack on with getting this sorted out. Right, first of all, just to do a quick test to see how sharp your blade is. Yep, that seems fairly sharpish. If it will make a score, yep, that seems to be working fine. So there you go. That blade seems to be good enough. Right, what you need to do is you need to cut around the top of the lid. As long as you leave the rim, it should be okay. So you cut round the top like so until it comes off completely, and then all you need to do is just poke it through, check the edge, make sure it seems pretty undamaged, and then just take the lid out. There we go. One empty can ready to go. Right, next we'll need to cut this can in half and start to trim it down. I normally start with the middle. Sometimes I score round, as you can see here, all the way round, and then just pop it with your thumbs to try and separate. Sometimes all you need to do is just pierce a hole enough to get a pair of scissors in, and then you can start cutting. It doesn't really matter how even it is round the middle, because it's all going to be trimmed down eventually. So as you can see, I haven't quite scored it enough, so I'll give it another cut and twist, and it should start to separate. But where I cut it unevenly, it will not join up completely, so I will have to get the scissors out to finish it off. Just start cutting down in a diagonal position till you think you're close enough to the size that you want it to be. I normally start cutting till I get to the top of the A in the name Carlsberg and start from there. That's roughly about the right sort of size that you need. And then with the other end, you start cutting down until, I roughly say, to the back side of the R in the bird. So that's just a rough estimate, and just keep cutting around until both have been trimmed down. And then you need to compare sizes, because the trick of this, as you can see, we need to get the top of the bottom to meet up with just before the neck starts to narrow there. So if it matches, that's what we need, because we don't want it to go too high. The bottom will completely smother the top of the neck. So if you measure roughly about where you think it needs to go, as you can see, I need to trim at least about a centimetre off of this. Have a quick compare, and I know roughly whereabouts to start cutting. It does help using some of the letters or writing on the actual tin itself to use as a guideline to roughly know whereabouts to cut to, because it's so hard to try and cut even with these things unless you actually draw a line, which I forgot to do. But there you go. Right, that's the bottom half, I think, done. And now compare the size. I think I might need to trim the bottom, the top half just a little bit more, just so it fits nice and snug. Just a quick snip, take off about less than, about a couple mil off. That should do it nicely. It doesn't have to be dead straight, but as long as it's flush as possible, it should work. Right, now we move on to trying to get the creases into the side wall of the top half. Bottom half put aside, and then we'll get going. Get your 2 fingers, place at the back, get the bluntish knife, and then just place a crease. Don't press too hard, you don't want to go cutting yourself. So press until it actually creates a crease in the side up to just above where the neck starts to narrow, and that creates a channel for the alcohol fumes to breathe through, so it will work. And then you start again with the next one, put your finger next to the next groove and so forth, and keep putting creases in the sides all the way around until you get to the other side, like so. Doesn't really matter if they're uneven, because the alcohol comes out and it all meets up at the top anyway, so it doesn't have to be dead straight. Each crease creates a channel for the fumes to come through. I picked this up off of a YouTube video that I was shown by my brother on Facebook. He said, have a look at this, see what you think. And some guy was showing how to make a travel stove just out of a beer can for someone who hasn't really got much money, and it's easily to replace, and there you go, a complete creased sides of the top half. And because there's lots of creases in, it should slot in very easily, like so. There we go. And as you can see, just above the bottom lip joins up with the other one, you can just see the slight groove where you put the creases in the top half, which create vents for the alcohol fumes to come through. Sometimes I will give it a quick trim just to make it a little bit more even, because some of the vents do get blocked by the sides if it hasn't been cut properly. But that's own personal preference. But there we go. It should be nice and snug. And yep, she fits quite nicely. You may get the odd few dents in the side, so just put your fingers behind, and if you've got any nails, then just rub them out or pop them out, depending on how many you have and how you wish to do this. So there you go, a quick way of creating an alcohol stove. But basically now we need to make a hole in the side wall without cutting myself. Oh, that was close. It's always good to use a sharper knife and it doesn't slip so much. So basically you need to make a point and just keep twisting slowly. Don't push too hard, I found out, because you make a massive hole and then it becomes no good. So you make sure the hole is small enough for air to get through. You only need the one hole, you don't need lots of holes with this one, because as you can see, it's got side vents anyway, so you only need that vent if you're putting a pot on top and the air needs to go in to be able to breathe. But eventually you will break through, you'll feel it. If your finger is at the back, as long as you don't press too hard, you won't cause yourself any injuries, but be very careful. Just be patient, eventually it will give, and then you'll feel a slight dent coming through at the back of it, and then that will be your vent hole. There we go. I believe that is done now. So as you can see, tiniest hole, but as long as there is a hole to let air through, it should be alright. It does help if you try and see light through it. That's one way of knowing. As you can see, tiniest little pinprick right at the back there. There we go. She is ready to go. Simple as that. No need for any tweaking or adjustments or gluing or welding or anything like that. That is it. It can be done in less than 10 minutes and you made yourself an alcohol stove. Just like that. As long as the can is clean, you should be fine. And also around the top edge of the top half, when you've cut through, just get some sandpaper, file down any sharp edges just in case you get caught. But here's a quick test. Make sure it's okay. She's lit, and I'll switch the light out and then you can see her in full bloom. There we go. One alcohol stove ready and raring to go. May not be the best form of alcohol burner, but after watching that video I saw, I made my own. And you can find cans anywhere. You can find them in bins. You can use your leftovers if you had a good session, or anybody, friends, family, anybody's going to throw some away. You can even use Coke cans, so they do the job. This is just a quick test burn, just to get her bedded in, so when you actually want to use it properly, she will burn really well. I didn't put too much alcohol in there because it was just basically just a quick test, just to get the stove all worn in. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy and have fun making them yourselves. Please subscribe, and I hope to catch you again soon. Thanks again. It's Chris Ember Clark out.